Frank Mir fight. Brendan, what's up, buddy?
What's going on, guys?
Thanks for carving out a few minutes with us. Kevin Iole's here. Say hi to him.
Yeah, what's going on, Kevin?
Hey, Brendan, how are you, pal?
I'm great, man. Life is good.
Hey, so we wanted to get your take. You were on the reality show with him on Roy Nelson, because I think Roy is still looked at as kind of like this slovenly dude, and he throws wild, and he's really not a great fighter. I think you can attest to the fact that he's a pretty freaking good fighter.
Yeah, Roy's his biggest asset is he's as tough as they come. He's a black belt on the ground. I'd probably say that's probably his strongest attribute. But man, the thing you can't take away from Roy is just his heart, and just he's just a tough guy. That kind of sums Roy up, I think.
Brendan, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the heavyweights on that show, because there was some criticism that some of the guys were really gassed in the early fights and couldn't even make it 2 minutes and were out of shape and everything. But as you look right now and you look yourself, Matt Mitrione looks like he's turning into a pretty good prospect. I think Roy's kind of unfair to include as a prospect in there because he's a veteran, but some pretty good guys who come off that show, didn't it?
Yeah, I think in those earlier fights, those guys really didn't pan out, and the guys who had the future in the UFC, I think it kind of shows, especially now. The true colors come out. You got myself. I fight Nogueira in August 27th, so that's gonna be a tough test for myself. And then you got Mitrione, who's doing well. John Matson's doing really well. I think he's 4-1. And then you got Big Roy, kind of doing his thing, being the vet. So it was a good season for sure.
And it's kind of amazing that, Kimbo got all that attention, and you look at it, I mean, there's going to be guys that are going to be fighting at the top level for a long time, and Kimbo seemed to be the guy that whole year that stole everything.
And, man, I thought the exact same thing coming in the house, like, why is this guy getting all the notoriety? But, man, Kimbo, it's not Kimbo's fault. He was a great guy, and, I really took a liking to him on the show, and he's just a normal guy. It's everyone else creating the hype around him. He's kind of just doing his thing and trying to pay the bills, and that's not his fault. But at the same time, I think it shows now. Who are the contenders and who's the pretenders. A lot of those guys are sitting on the couch watching the guys you mentioned earlier fight for the UFC.
You lost to Roy in that finale of the season. What was your attitude after that? Were you down, or you're kind of like, hey, you know what, I'm a young guy and those things happen?
No, I never accept a loss. I made some mistakes in that fight. I had 4 professional fights going into that fight. So, Roy had, damn near 20. He was a former world champion. So the stakes were high against me. But, I had a good showing. I got caught. That could happen to anyone. It just happened to me on that night. But, I think, I'm doing well now. And, I beat 2 legends in a row, going for a third now, so things are good, man.
Brendan, when I was talking to Roy at the workout the other day, one of the things that he had mentioned was he said he hasn't seen the diversification in your game, that you're obviously improving as a striker, but he hasn't seen the other aspects of your game. Going up against somebody like Nogueira, obviously you're not going to beat Nogueira if you're not diversified. Can you address that, and can you talk about how you think you've progressed as a complete package since tough?
Yeah, sure. I think that's funny Roy would say that. Man, I've never taken down anyone in my career, and when I fought Mirko Krokop, one of the greatest strikers in the world, I took him down more than anyone in his entire career. So I would say that shows a little bit of a different aspect of my game. Jiu-jitsu, I really haven't had to use. I sure as hell wasn't going to use it against Gabriel Gonzaga. I think Roy's the one who's not really changing, man. It's great to be the guy who sits there and takes punches, but at the end of the day, man, you got to be the guy who's winning fights, and I've done that. I'm 4-1, going on 5-1 here. That's the plan. So we'll see how Roy diversifies himself tomorrow night against Frank Mir.
Sounds like we need a rematch in the future.
If you were to beat Frank Mir, it makes sense, man. If not, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about, I asked Frank Mir the other day, I said, can you look at one area of Roy's game or one area of the game where Roy is better than you? And Frank thought about it for a while and said no. And I kind of laughed when I said that, and I don't mean to laugh at Roy because I have great respect for Roy as a person, as an athlete, and as a fighter. But having said that, when you break that fight down, how do you make a case for Roy to beat somebody bigger, seemingly in better shape, et cetera, like Frank Mir?
Man, I think the biggest thing is Roy just hanging in there and catching Frank with a right hand like he did me. I kind of agree with Frank, but like I said, I think Roy's as tough as they come, and that'll be the deciding factor. If Frank can keep a high pace and try and put Roy away, and Roy's going to be that guy who's going to stay in there, and he's going to be in Frank's face and probably take everything Frank has to offer for a while. So it's really depends on what kind of condition Frank's in, and that's good. This isn't a fight I'd bet on. I have no idea who's going to win.
And hey, Brendan, before we let you go, one last thing real quick. Shane Carwin, buddy up in Colorado, give us a little update on him, and do you think it's going to affect him much? He prepares to fight a jiu-jitsu fighter, and now all of a sudden he's facing a great striker like Junior Dos Santos.
Yeah, no, not at all. If anything, it's better because, there's a lot of similarities between Dos Santos and myself, and Shane goes against me every day, so it's a look he's used to, and, when Shane was fighting Olav, we really weren't focused on Olav. We were just kind of trying to get Shane in shape and honing in on his skills, and we thought that was good enough to beat Olav. The thing with Shane, he's in great shape. I can't remember the last time he was this light. I think he's about 255 right now, shredded, man, and the guy's just ready to go in there and do his thing. I think it's going to be a successful night for him.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the conditioning because obviously he said that he wanted, he realized that he probably was weighing too much, so he officially made that a reality. He's going to go in smaller.
Oh, 100%. I think everyone's going to be surprised when they see Shane. I post pictures on Twitter and on Facebook of Shane and I working out, and people are already commenting on how light Shane looks, but it's the best I've seen him, man. He's putting things together, and his cardio's great, and he's more explosive and stronger than ever, so it's going to be a good night.
Are you sure you weren't photoshopping Shane's head on my body?
I might have, man. You never know.
Yeah, probably not. Is he going to send out another one of those crazy dunk videos? Can he actually dunk?
Can Shane?
Yeah.
Yeah, he can.
Wow, that's crazy. I still don't believe it because it's like he's so freaking
You should
thick.
see the guy jump rope, man. It's crazy.
That is nuts. That is nuts.
We got to have him play Roy one-on-one because Roy tells me he can dunk.
Did he really?
Oh, man, I was in the house with Roy. I never saw him dunk. He played a lot of basketball.
He dunked something else, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Brendan. Hey, very nice spot. Hey, good job. Hey, are you getting a gig at the Denver radio station? I listened the other day. You were going toe-to-toe with Scott Hastings. That was impressive.
Oh, thanks, man. No, it's just fun for me, man. I like talking to the fans and dealing with this stuff. It's part of the sport that, is definitely something I enjoy doing, so it's one of the sparks for me.
I think it's also cool to see, because we do a regular sports talk show down here, so MMA is really part of the show, and people accept it here. But I think it's cool to see markets like Denver and some of the other markets starting to treat you guys the way you should be treated.
Yeah, man, Denver's great about jumping on board, and, man, I go out, I just got a ton of support, man, so it's cool.
Thanks, Brendan. We appreciate a couple minutes.
Yeah, guys, anytime. Take it easy.
See you in Rio, man.
There you go. Brendan Schaub. I can't say that. I don't know if I'll be going to Rio. I'd like to, though. I have to get in better shape to go on the beach.
Well, maybe we will Photoshop Carlin's body on your head.
Can't make that permanent, though. All right, we're down here at Cox Pavilion. It's the MMA Insiders. We're going to break down UFC 130. We're getting ready for Tough Enough. You can come on down and buy tickets. Just $20 at the door. All right, we got all the fights at UFC 130. We cannot do what Brendan just did and not make a pick on the Nelson Mir fight. We'll make picks on all the fights. We'll use the betting odds as we come back on a Friday night to the MMA Insiders.
The first-place New York Yankees begin their West Coast road trip in Seattle. Game 1 of their series is Friday night at 7:05 on ESPN Radio 1100 and 98.9 FM.